That's 2 in a row, Suns fans. That's a winning streak. That's the beginning of a trend for your Phoenix Suns. And here's another trend for you, Jamsters. Me coming to you live from my truck after the game. I know you love the audio. I know you love the visuals. I figured you wouldn't mind hanging out with me in my truck on my drive home for the second consecutive night as the Suns win in the second night of a back-to-back. They are now 41-29 and tied with the Dallas Mavericks for the 6th seed. But the Suns have the 7th seed because they didn't TCOB against the Dallas Mavericks. They hold the tiebreaker this season. So alas, Matthew, who is also in his car, the Suns are the 7th seed, and it looks like we're looking underneath your steering wheel, or...
Yeah, again, I just need to put it up a little bit. All right, now we're good. That's as good as it gets.
That's as good as it gets, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to get some underboob. You got to deal with it.
Yeah, you got to get the whole belly up in front. Oh, this man. Sorry. Backing out. Yeah,
great game. There's definitely going to be some pros and cons that we saw in this one again, and definitely some quality discussions that we're going to have on the Suns Jam Session podcast. As Matthew tries to, it looks like he's backing out. He's got more balls than I do. I'm not moving for a while because there's a line of cars and I don't feel like sitting in it. So I'm just going to sit here talking to you fine people. Make sure you hit the thumbs up if you're hanging out with us. Go ahead, subscribe, rate, review. And if you're listening, give us a 5-star review and all of that good stuff. Matthew, is there anything else that they should do?
Yeah, go home and love your family. Oh, wait, that's for later on the podcast.
That's later. That's just pop them if you got them.
I gotta
Phoenix Suns beat the Atlanta Hawks tonight, 128-115, a 13-point victory for your Suns. The good guys wins. We finally beat Atlanta, a team that we've lost the last, 4 consecutive games to? We haven't beat Atlanta since 2021, ladies and jamsters. So no Trae Young, apparently no problem, although DeJounte Murray did attempt to give us fits. But it was the Suns bench tonight who scored 47 points, with Eric Gordon scoring 21 of them, that ultimately allowed the Suns to creep to victory, which brings me to my first question.
Oi, Matty. Mate, I've got to ask.
Matthew, I've got to ask. Frank Vogel, is he the Dave Roberts of the NBA?
Oh, man. I don't know what's going on here. Hold on.
Did you have like a gummy before you started to drive? This is not good.
No, there's just a guy trying to get past me. He's like going the wrong way. All right. That was a bad timing, everybody. I apologize. Yeah, so you brought that up earlier, Dave Roberts of the NBA. We mentioned it because ending the first half, Royce O'Neal was on fire. He was taken out about 5 minutes left in the game, then put back in, 3 minutes left in the game, and then put back in with about a minute left to go. But he was making everything. As soon as he came back in the game, he made a three. He hit a three, grabbed the big board, had a nice little block on a half court shot to end the first half. So that was an interesting part that kind of reflected on the whole tenure here of, I think, Frank Vogel just kind of taking guys out when they're hot. And I think Bol Bol's another example of that. But yeah, man, I do believe he is, and I know that Dave Roberts has given you fits over the years. So, I mean, do you think he is as well?
Yeah, I mean, so allow me to extrapolate if people don't understand why that question is a question. I know that a lot of the fans of this podcast, when it comes to baseball, there's two things. Either you're a Diamondbacks fan or you don't give two shits about baseball, okay? For those of you who know me and have followed the podcast for quite some time, I'm a Los Angeles Dodgers fan, okay? Born in Phoenix, grew up in LA, 88 World Series, Kirk Gibson. That's my first memories as a 6-year-old was watching Kirk Gibson round the bases in October of 1988, okay? That being said, Dave Roberts is the current manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers, okay? The challenge that Dave Roberts has consistently, every fucking postseason is he plays the analytics too hard. If you have a pitcher who is out there and he's thrown 5 consecutive innings and he's dealing, he'll give up 1 hit. The next batter's like a lefty. And what happens? Dave Roberts pulls him and brings in a left-handed pitcher and the guy blows up, right? I feel like Frank Vogel has some of that to him. That's why I make that comparison. Because when you have somebody who's hot, somebody who's playing well, like Royce O'Neal was tonight, like Bol was last night, rattling off 8 points. They both rattle off 8 points very quickly in their appearances in the second quarter and consecutive nights. Bol hit 2 threes and had a nice layup. Same thing with Royce O'Neal tonight. What happens? Frank Vogel pulls them. He's like, okay, well, according to my watch, your time is officially up, and I need to get somebody else back in the game. It's like, yeah, but that guy was on fire. What are you doing, dude? Like, why don't you play the hot hand? I've never seen a coach not play the hot hand, especially in the game of basketball, where rhythm and timing and momentum are definitely aspects of the game. So that was one of my first observations in this game. Frank Vogel needs to start to trust the hot hand, especially when it's a guy coming off the bench like that. Like, you're not going to tire Royce O'Neal out because you're going to sit him for the next 16 minutes of game time. So let the guys cook, man. Let the guys cook.
Yeah, it's very valuable because right now we're going through a spurt where the big three, some of them look insecure, some of them don't look like they know what they're doing on the court, feel back-to-back bad games. Durant struggling a little bit tonight in the past 4 games too. So we need as much contribution as we can from these guys. So it's one of those things where it's like it's great to have the production that we get from Royce O'Neal. Like tonight, in the past few games, he's come back alive. Eric Gordon looked great tonight. Of course, Grayson Allen just has 9 threes every game. It's great to have that, but if we haven't had that, then we wouldn't be, I wouldn't think in the playoff hunt. So it's a difficult thing to kind of maneuver because I'm grateful for it, but I'm also just like thankful in a way where it's just like you're saving the season because our other guys can't figure it out yet. And that's including Frank Vogel and whether or not he knows what to do with this rotation, because it's very scary to watch right now. And there's a lot of yips out there. We have won 2 games in a row, but it doesn't feel right yet. And I don't even know if it's headed in the right direction. I couldn't tell you if we're going in the right direction and we're picking up things and using them as positive things moving forward. On the defensive end or offensive end, it's so freaking scarce right now on the court where I'm just having a hard time dialing into what this team's doing and how they're going to look moving on to the next game. So I don't even know what to think of these past 2 games, really.
I do think, I said it numerous times on last night's pod after the Suns beat the 76ers. I saw some good things out there. I saw some great things offensively, and I saw some good things defensively, and that's what mattered to me. But I said, I'm like, a 1-game streak, if you will, relative to those specific attributes doesn't spark my attention. Okay. Tonight, it sparked my curiosity because I definitely think that we are starting to see some things relative to hustle, to grit, to comeback. I liked what I saw for the second consecutive game. I'm not worried about this team on offense. I'm really not. And, I was looking up a bunch of advanced statistics today, and the Suns are the number 1 team in the league in secondary assists, right? Which is kind of like the hockey assist. But they're 5th worst in the league in turnovers percentile on their passes. 5.4% of every pass they make is a turnover. So there's a lot of things that they need to shore up. And we know that the Hawks were definitely down with both Jalen Johnson and Trae Young not present, but they dropped 128. They 115, they held them where they needed to. They put the runs on them at the right time. At no time outside of the first quarter, the Suns just did the stupid, boneheaded, dumb shit that the Suns do. They turn the ball over, they allow second chance points, and the Hawks jump out to a quick 14-point lead, like barely before you sit down in your seat. But from that point on, the Suns locked in, ups and downs, because ups and downs happen in a game. But overall, I really liked what I saw from Phoenix tonight. I think that they are heading in the right direction. Again, knowing that we should be winning these games. We have 2 against the Spurs next. We should be winning these games. These are not games that, I would be highly concerned if we lost last night, if we lost tonight. That's where concern would be. I don't have that concern. I'm starting to see that they are trending in the right direction. So I'm okay. Sounds like you're a little less confident than I am at this point, Matthew.
Well,
Matthew
yeah,
Paul.
the only thing I'm confident in is the play of Booker and how he's kind of controlling this offense at times. You didn't see it as much as he did last game.
That's because he's in foul trouble tonight.
Yeah, I know. He had some ticky-tack fouls. It's crazy to have 4 fouls or even foul out in the game nowadays when there's only 2 fouls per game called. So it's almost impossible to do, but Booker will find a way. I'm just joking. Yeah, it was kind of a rough game for him in that way. But the only thing is, with this team and the support they have around the big three, it's good to see that. It's just I have to see, for me to feel good about this team heading to playoffs, I have to see the big three hit on all cylinders for like 5 or 6 games straight to where it just looks automatic. And our offense is good. It is good. But it's just like, how far can Grayson Allen, how far can Royce O'Neal and Eric Gordon in those 3-point spurts that they go through? How far can that carry us in the playoffs, and how often is it going to happen? So I do worry about that. And of course, a win's a win. But I'm still looking for those guys to step up in certain ways on the court just to kind of be the leader. I know Kevin Durant, they always say he can't be the leader, whatever, but I just need these guys to show me that I can believe in them heading into the playoffs. It's not there yet, but I'm just really happy we got the win, though.
But see, that's where I differ a little bit, because like you can't have the big three go out and score 90 points every game. That's just not sustainable. You need to have your ancillary players step up from game to game. Now you should, I would say like 50% of the time you can rely on the big three to do that. But you need to have games like tonight where, like I said, 47 bench points. That's so pleasing to see, because that was the challenge last year. Is the only way we would survive, because our bench was depleted and not confident. The only way we survive in the postseason is if Devin Booker and Kevin Durant went absolutely nuclear. And if one of them didn't go nuclear, we would lose. Now you can have Kevin Durant goes for 30 points. How much did KD have tonight?
What do you have, 19 points?
Okay, and how much did Bradley Beal have?
Did he have 9 points?
I was under 20. But they still win going away by 13 points because 21 points by Eric Gordon coming off the bench, Grayson Allen stepping up, Royce O'Neal stepping up. I mean, that's what you want. That's a team. That's a team win.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you'd like to see, quote unquote, more leadership from the big three, but wins are important no matter how you get them. And to see a whole team engaged in winning, that is what's important to me. Like, what's your definition of leader on the court? Is it a guy who's out there like yelling at everybody and pointing around, or is it the guy who steps up and like scores 40 every night? Is it is it purely based on statistical production, or is it based on the ultimate statistic that matters? And that's what happens in the win column.
It's just how it looks and how they actually are bonding on the court and even off the court. There's just
so define that. What's bonding? Like slapping each other's asses?
No, just the communication on the court and even off the court in the team huddles. So what I'm seeing from Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant, that kind of worries me a little bit, is I feel like they are still kind of playing their own game and trying to get adjusted to this lineup and get involved more on different parts of the court to where they can help this team win. And yes, we're winning as a team, and those guys are shooting lights out from the bench, and you have the help from Grayson Allen. That's great. It's just like there's just like this thing that has to click between those three to where they understand and they're not playing their own games. And it's getting close to that. It really is. And the leadership I'm talking about is just basically like everyone falls in line, everyone can count on each other, but it's as a team, as a lead. Like it's not like, oh, Kevin Durant, I'm going to come out here, I'm going to talk my shit. And he was doing that actually this season, where he was actually really getting these guys organized and talking a lot on the court. That kind of went away. Now he's kind of yelling more at Eubanks and stuff for messing shit up. So I'm not saying these guys have to go out there and talk. They just have to lead by example, and it's just not there yet. I'm not being super negative about it. I'm just saying what I want.
No, I don't think you are. I just think it's a good basketball conversation.
Yeah, and then also like the thing is like you'll never really get that communication between the three and like the rest of the group like on the court by talking. But there's gonna be those times where it's just like it's gonna flow so well on the offensive defensive end where it's like, oh dude, like these guys get it. And I'm waiting for that, but you just haven't seen it yet. So I don't even know what it looks like. So maybe I'm just imagining something different that we'll never get with the Suns team. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm just reaching too much, and maybe this is just it. So maybe I'm just kind of imagining something, because obviously Beal hasn't been there before, and KD hasn't done anything to lead a team really to the playoffs and win a championship other than Golden State. So maybe I'm just reaching too much for that. Whatever.
And see, this is where it's like I see, this team has amazing ball movement at times. I mean, they whip it around, and that's where, like, you look at tonight, they're 22 of 41 from beyond the arc, and the wide openness of some of those shots that Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal are getting and Eric Gordon are getting is because of the gravity and because of the way that they're utilizing ball movement to open up those shots for their teammates. So sometimes the best way to be a leader and by quote unquote leading by example is to do your due diligence in drawing in opposing defenders to free up your teammates, and then allowing them to be in a space and an opportunity where they can execute accordingly, and they did tonight. And so I do see, like, what obviously I said this a lot on last night's pod, and I'll continue to echo it. Like, I want to see everything that you're talking about on the defensive end, the communication on the defensive end, because offensively, this team is, what is their starting five plus minus is like a top five lineup in the league, period, exclamation point. But the defense is something that we need to see a little bit more fluidity with, and to your point, a little bit more communication. We need somebody to step up and be that leader on defense, to hold people accountable on back end rotations, on closeouts, on flybys, on hands in the face, all of those little things, if you will, that add up to productive defensive play. And I feel like we are starting to see that these past couple games, again, against less than stellar competition, against teams that have players that are superstars and all-stars who are out, but they are still closing out. They're hustling. They're crashing the boards. And the thing that I think that I've enjoyed seeing over these past two nights is the Suns finally fucking figured out, hell, shit, we can play physical too. We don't have to be the team that's sitting there trying to finesse everybody. We can go and challenge people at the cylinder, and there can be a little bit of contact, and we're not going to get called for it. So let's do it. Let's go ham. Let's not let people just turn into fucking layup lines, because that's what the Suns defense has done in the past, where if they allow somebody to be beat at the point of attack, they just don't try to defend the back end. The only person who gets called for fucking fouls is Devin Booker, apparently, when Clint Capella's like, he like matrices around him and still gets the call. But I get what you're saying. You want to see it more consistently. I think we all do, obviously, but we're on the past two games. I feel like we're heading the right direction. We have Wemby for 2 games next, and then it gets fucking ridiculous, right? Our last 10 games, every game is against a team that is ahead of us in the standings, outside of Sacramento, who fell behind us in the standings tonight because they lost to the Washington Wizards. Yikes. And I think we have 1 or 2 games against the Pelicans, who lost Brandon Ingram tonight, looked pretty bad, an injury that he had. There's a Minnesota game without Cat. But outside of the Kings, every team that we play in our last 10 is ahead of us in the standings in the Western Conference, outside of the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are ahead of us in the standings if we were in the Eastern Conference. So the iron sharpened iron theory is going to be tested, and the communication and the fluidity that you want to see and the leadership that you desire to see from this Phoenix Suns team will be tested here very, very shortly. You got a TCOB until then. You have to win these 4 games. They've won the first 2 up against San Antonio, so plenty to see what else this team has moving forward.
Yeah, and back to the leadership thing, it kind of just, it's on one guy, that what I'm seeing with Kevin Durant a little bit. I just, tonight we were talking about it, how he just seemed really disconnected, and Jamster at all, but he just seemed really disconnected tonight from the team during huddles on the court. He was having his old gripes again towards Eubanks after missed plays. He was turning the ball over. Obviously, he's a big part of this team and where we're going to go. But those little lapses he had during the games where he seems very disconnected. This doesn't last all game. He came back and he was back with the team in the huddle next to Book, in front of Vogel towards the end of the game when we locked up the win. But there was that stretch between the third and the midway through the fourth where he just was disengaged. So either it was an injury, either he's frustrated with the team, either it's a bunch of shit, right? But those things like that kind of worry me, because in the playoffs, when you just lose the momentum. Like tonight, when we were down, when the Hawks were on a 13-0 run to start the game, and we're down big, but then we go on a 13-0 run to get back into it. That's led by Booker in the first quarter. First quarter, Book was kind of back. Like, those are spurts in the game where, like, you need guys like KD to not, slump his shoulders, get back late on defense and transition to where you can stop teams on their runs, get back into the game. Those are the things I'm just worried about. That might leak into the playoffs to where teams are just, like, having their way with us because we're too down on ourselves. So, the leadership thing, obviously I didn't say it was going to be vocal, but it's just a thing where they have to pick these guys up that are looking for someone to lead them in these times of, like, a desperate need to get back into a game like they did tonight in the first quarter. So those are the things that really kind of worry me, but I think they can adjust and they can get back on track. It's up to Beal and KD to really help Booker out in that way.
Who the heck are you?
I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am. Y'all know who I am.
Did anybody see a sniper? Did anybody see anything?
I'm one of the best players to ever play the game.
It was something that both you and I noticed, was watching where Kevin Durant was on the court and how he was interacting with his teammates throughout the night. And I posted something on Twitter. I posted a picture of Kevin Durant sitting all the way at the end of the bench while the rest of the team was in the huddle. And then as the huddle breaks, they all give each other a high five, and he's not there. And what the hell's that sound?
Oh, what is it? Is it vibrating?
I don't know. It sounds like you're chewing a straw or something.
No, I'm just driving. Here, hold on. Maybe it's like rattling.
Interesting. It's like a small squeaky sound.
Oh no, I don't know what it is.
Oh, well. Sorry, people who are listening. This is what happens when we both go to the games. But, so there's, and I posted on Twitter, and there were some good responses to that tweet. And, some were like, hey, this is the second night of a back-to-back. Kevin Durant's tired, man. And some people are like, hey, this is superstar behavior, man. He just sits off to the side of the bench. And we've seen LeBron do it. How the fuck did I get behind the Sholo Cougars fucking bus right now? They're driving like 2 miles an hour on the 51. Go back to Sholo, you sons of bitches. I saw your halftime show. It was all right. I liked what So Says Jay said on Twitter. He's like, maybe he's just really high right now, man. Leave him alone. I don't know. I don't know what the why is to why Kevin Durant's body language was off. His turnovers were, again, frustrating. Not even caused by the opposition. But again, like, the Suns gave up like a 9-0 run. Okay, there was was it a technical or was it a flagrant foul where DeJounte Murray drew a flagrant foul and he got three. It was when Kevin Durant did the closeout, right? Kevin Durant does the closeout, lands in his space, even though he didn't really land in his space. They gave DeJounte Murray 3 free throws and the ball, and they went, and that sparked a 9-0 run, and the Hawks got within 1 point. And then Kevin Durant goes down and hits an incredibly tough little 8-foot hook shot and instantly stops the run. And, like, that's where Kevin Durant is so fucking valuable, is how he's the run stopper, man. Like, if you ever got the shits, call Kevin Durant. He'll show up at your house. You will no longer have the runs. He'll give you some Pepto-Bismol, maybe a little Imodium AD. He'll take care of you because that's what he does, is he stops runs. So you're going to get some other things. You're going to get some frustration. You're going to get certain ways that he acts. But I think that given the way that this roster is constructed, with Booker out there, with Beal, with a great three-point shooter in Grayson Allen, with the fucking Bosnian beast, Yusuf Nurkic, cleaning up the fucking boards and playing physical with that chip on his shoulder, I think those are great complementary pieces so Kevin Durant can be successful. It's just a matter of, again, when the playoffs hit, is it sustainable? And I know that you're worried about some of the emotional baggage that could happen with ups and downs that happen throughout the playoff runs and the playoff games, and hopefully it doesn't affect Kevin Durant too much. And we'll see. But I think that the way that this roster is constructed, it doesn't worry me as a fan. I'm more worried about isolation plays, trying to go into hero ball mode when you have great shooters around you. Double teams, he sees a double team coming, so he spins away from it and shoots a fadeaway 19-footer. It's like, No, let the double team come and hit Grayson Allen. He's wide the fuck open. So that's what I'm more worried about than necessarily the body language or the emotional side of the game, if you will, the human side of the game, if you will.
Yeah, no, it's just a guy like Kevin Durant. I worry about it because, he is known for that. He is that type of guy where he can be emotional and he can get into his head. You can see it. But it's just tonight, like when he's heading back to the court, when he breaks huddle, shit, dude, this motherfucker. Oh my God.
What is it? Is it the Sholo bus?
No, just like this split fucking I-10 where no one knows how to stay in their lane. Anyway.
Oh, I hate that shit. Yeah, the I-10 is so shitty. The lane lines are like a drunk son of a bitch drew them, and you're like swerving.
You can't see.
You'll get sideswiped. Be careful.
All right, I'm good. But yeah, him walking out of the huddle tonight. So this is just my observation. I watched him the whole time in the third and fourth quarter. This is what I love to do. I love to look too deep into what these guys are doing and give a fuck. I don't even know why. It doesn't mean anything. The next game he'll be fine. But that's just how it is. So this is what I saw tonight, where he walked out of the huddle too early, walks past Frank Vogel, who's still giving instructions. Everyone gives a fist bump without him, and then IT kind of stops him like, hey, you all right? He's like, yeah, I'm good, whatever. Like, IT was walking around a lot tonight, just pumping up the team, trying to pump up KD. So I'm not saying he's just like he's out of it, like he's done with the team or anything like that. I'm just saying there's something where it's just like, is he giving up too much to help this team win games offensively, where you have guys like Royce and Grayson Allen like passing it to each other, passing it past Kevin Durant on certain plays where they're overlooking him for better shots. Like, that has to take some getting used to. I don't blame KD for being maybe a little frustrated for that. But, like, the team is just so much better to watch if it's just not him hogging the ball at times, right? So moving the ball and stuff, it's just something I feel like he has to get used to right now. So maybe I'm thinking about too much, but I think that's going to play a big part in the playoffs, dude. If he can handle that to where he might have to take a little bit of a back seat to other guys. That's it.
Now, I will say this, my last thing on KD, and somebody commented on our last podcast, because every time we say anything that's not like, KD is amazing, he's the Michael Jordan of this generation, like KD stands comment and they say, we're idiots and we don't know ball and all that stuff. And like somebody commented on our last podcast and they said something about like KD is one of the best closers in the game. Y'all don't know what you're talking about. I will tell you this, okay? I was looking this shit up, okay? Kevin Durant has the highest usage rate for the Phoenix Suns in clutch time moments, right? He also is shooting like 20% from the field. He also is turning the ball over. Like, all the stats literally say that he is not the greatest closer in the game right now. And that's okay, folks. It's okay.
It's all right.
I know you want 5 KDs out there, but you can only have one. And they're going to hate this because every time we talk about KD, you guys are such Booker fans, man. Like,
Big Dick Booker.
Devin Booker was fucking amazing tonight. Take that, KD stands. Devin Booker was swinging his big dick around in the fourth quarter. 3 consecutive threes to close out the game. He was in foul trouble, but he still played 32 minutes, had 30 fucking points. He saved the Suns in that first quarter, man. I mean, he really did. When KD, who went 0 for 0 in the first quarter, he came out and he went 5 of 7 in the first quarter, something like that. I mean, just great Booker game. Great Booker game. I love him so much. He's the chosen son. Every KD stand is gonna fucking roast us in the comments, man. Booker had a good game. What do you want me to say? Like,
the hardest part of Booker's night tonight was when KD headed to the bench and Bradley Beal was sitting over there. KD sat down next to Beal, and Beal's like, oh no, like, our upset dad is sitting next to me. Like, don't say anything, don't move. Like, that was probably the hardest part of Booker's. No, just joking. I don't know. I think it's funny because tonight my whole focus was really just on KD and stuff. I think Booker, like I said last game, really got into the groove of kind of owning this offense when it needs to be owned and moving the ball. I know he wasn't up there in assists, but I think he scored the ball very well in the first quarter to get things going, get things back on track for the Suns, and they never looked back. So that's kind of been the theme where, I mean, it was a tie game in the third quarter. and in the fourth quarter. But I just think that Booker gets his team right back on track when they need to. And that's been the theme of the last 2 games for me. So I love that part. And I think that KD and Beal will eventually fall in line to where they need to be, along with the rest of the group. I think the rest of the group knows what the hell to do, obviously, when they're just 3-point shooters. And not, you know what I mean? And they're just sitting back, waiting for their wide open threes. But yeah, I think Booker being on is just a big thing heading into this playoffs. They need to figure that out. And I think they're starting to head. Scratch what I said earlier. I said I didn't really things like I have, talking it out. I feel a little bit better now.
There you go. Now, I will say, Booker, do me a favor. When I'm talking, mute yourself because I hear reverb.
Do you? Hey. All right, hold on.
Yeah, it does. You just gotta hold your phone while you drive. That's what I do. But one thing I will say about Devin Booker is he definitely has his limitations on defense. And the fouls, the last foul was kind of ticky-tack. They reviewed it. Tony Brothers said it was a foul. I think it wasn't. But you can't be in that position with 4 fouls in the third quarter and do that. So Booker, I facetiously am talking about how great Booker is because it gets the blood boiling of every KD stan out there. And again, folks, remember, I fucking love Kevin Durant. I fucking love him. I'm critical of everyone on this team, including Devin Booker right now. He makes some dumb decisions sometimes, and especially when it comes to foul. He'll swipe at guys when he doesn't need to. A lot of the fouls that aren't being called in the NBA are allowing for a little more physical brand of play, but the fouls that Devin Booker commits aren't necessarily physical fouls. They're like little bitch fouls. They're like slapping somebody instead of trying to go for the ball. He'll slap him on the shoulder, or he'll just jump in front of somebody for no reason. So, yeah, he has his limitations, especially on defense. He gets beat a lot. DeJounte Murray had 16 points in that first quarter. Devin Booker started out guarding DeJounte Murray. 16-3, I think, is what DeJounte went for in that first quarter. Now, Booker did what he could offensively to try to match him and get the Suns back in the game, but they shouldn't have been in that situation because Devin Booker could have played a little bit of better defense. Now, granted, the Suns were turning the ball over. The Suns were allowing second chance points. But the Suns were also going down on offense and doing some one-and-done shit and then not getting back in and playing effective defense. And guess what? Devin Booker's part of that. That's what I want. I want KD and I want Devin Booker to be those leaders on defense. Kevin Durant's got the backhand side where he's sitting there, he can call shit out next to Nurk. And Devin Booker needs to be a better – Jesus Christ, this guy's coming up like a bat out of hell behind me. He must be a fan of the pod. But Devin Booker needs to be it on the front end. He needs to be the point of attack defender and communicate with his team and hold himself and the team accountable, Matthew.
Yeah, I think so
now
too.
You unmute.
Am I good now? Yeah, so I totally agree with you on all of that. Yeah, I guess we can move on, dude.
Perfect. Well, in that case, Biscuits and the Bear, shout out $13 in the super chat. Says the team shot 55, 54, 89. Keep this rolling for the next 5 games. Thank you, Biscuits and the Bear, for donating to the pod. The best way to support us is by giving us a thumbs up, by subscribing, by rating and reviewing, and knowing that, again, we're fans and we love Kevin Durant with all of our little hearts, with all of our little souls. What were your thoughts on this guy tonight?
Big Crank Eubanks.
Crank that soul. Now I mean you. Crank that soul. Now I mean you. Crank that soul. Now I mean you. Crank that soul. Now what?
Drew Eubanks is putting together a couple nice games. I know it's not sustainable. I know that he makes some boneheaded plays. I mean, that's what a backup center does. But he had some aggression out there again tonight. He was executing on some plays. He had an and-one opportunity, played some defense, a couple really good blocks. I liked what I saw from the Crank tonight, man. His big Crank was back.
Give this man Andre Drummond or Clint Capella and he'll go to town. He'll turn into a beast. And that's what he was tonight. Couple blocks tonight, really feeling it, man. Letting all the muscles rip out. He almost ripped out of those little tiny shorts he wears. He was going crazy tonight, man. He had one of the best games in a while. Big contribution for the Suns. I think last game was a little tough to get through at times, but tonight was nice. So this is the one game out of 7 or 8 that you'll get some good Eubanks minutes, maybe, which is good because he needs to build on that confidence. But it's just obviously it's something that needs to stay consistent. But I do believe, no, I don't. It was a good game tonight from Eubanks.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to recognize it every now and then. And again, like if you're playing Thaddeus Young, are you going to get the same performance tonight from Eubanks because is his confidence shot? And that's why we haven't really seen Thad Young unless it's garbage minutes. You can only play, you only want to play about 9 guys a night. So a solid game by him. I just wanted to give that some acknowledgement. A really solid game by Eric.
From Indiana University, number 23, Eric Gordon.
Gordon had 21 points tonight, 4 threes in that in that third and fourth quarter. I mean, I think he ended with 5 or 6 of them, but he was just stroking it. And here's the other thing that was really nice about him tonight. He wasn't settling for the 3 at the beginning of the game. He was attacking the cylinder. Okay, he was using that bowling ball head of his, and the Hawks were pins, and he was trying to go right through them tonight. And it was great to see him be aggressive in that manner because that ultimately opened up the three-point line for him. And when you see Eric Gordon come out and attack the cylinder and try to get some paint touches, you know you're going to be in a good Gordon night because he's not just out there just trying to chuck threes. He's trying to actually make plays happen and whatnot. I love seeing that from him. I forget. I don't know exactly what the statistic is, but I'm pretty sure the Suns are like 6-0 or 7-0 from overall when Eric Gordon scores at least 20 points. It's a good stat. Coming off the bench, giving you that. You need that. That's the key. Him and Royce O'Neal coming off the bench and providing offensive output like they did, that takes off so much pressure from players like Kevin Durant, the almighty great God, Kevin Durant, who one day will have cities and towns and nations named after him because of his greatness.
Yeah, you saw, in the beginning of the game, I think Eric Gordon was paying attention to his little drives to the rim, and he was kind of bricking a few of those shots. I'm like, please don't do that during the game, but he totally just excelled in that area all night long, it seemed like, and then he was hitting from well beyond the three-point line. The 1-2 punch of him and Royce O'Neal is nice to have. It's something that you definitely need heading into the playoffs, but with one of those guys hitting, it's awesome because you always know you can usually count on Grayson Allen with one off game, but when both those guys are hitting, it's like you have to win the game. Like there's no way you can waste any of that effort when it comes from both of those guys. So there's a couple guys heading to the playoffs that we need to really step up and become men, and that's Eric Gordon and Kevin Durant. Just kidding. It's just Eric Gordon's a big X factor though for sure, man.
He is. I mean, when you get great games from him, you're going to have a great overall performance from the Suns, and that's statistically true. So either lead, follow, or get the hell out of his way. I think you were hanging out in Atlanta, right? You were the ATL, man. You probably saw some T.I. To the window, to the wall, the Valley Girl. Let's see what she had to say.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
Oh, God.
Valley?
So, yeah, I'm just out here in the parking lot, outside my house, my apartment, and everyone's just like, who is this chick? Like, where's she from? I don't know. So yeah, I'm totally not making any of this up. This is exactly what they talked about tonight. Hold on, dude. There's people around.
Your neighbors are gonna think you're a weirdo.
Yeah, they're like, I knew it, that guy.
I knew it. I could hear it through the walls, but now I see it. It sounds like you're burying a body.
Yeah. Oh, I should be burying my own, dude. After this is embarrassing. Hold on. Okay, so
you gotta whisper.
I can't. Okay, so Kevin Durant. I can't make anything up, dude. I can't do this. I can't think of anything to say. I'm so sorry, John.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
Good
So
effort,
Matthew
huh?
was too busy watching. Matthew was too busy watching Kevin Durant tonight to
Tribunes. Yeah, I
do this.
know.
Jam star of the game.
Who are you giving it to, Matthew?
I'll give it to Book.
I'll give it
Is that
to
right?
Eric Gordon and Royce O'Neal.
Okay.
Book had 30 in 32 minutes. I thought it was really impressive. But I give it to Royce O'Neal and Eric Gordon because when Devin Booker got that fifth foul, there was like 5 minutes left in the third quarter. And then Eric Gordon came in and hit 2 threes. And then Royce O'Neal was hitting threes. I mean, so they stepped up. With him being out, they stepped up in his stead. So that's what we got there. Next game is Saturday. It's a 5 o'clock Arizona start. I will not be on it. Suns Geek will be on the show with Matthew. We're playing San Antonio. Fucking Wemby, fucking Wemby, son of a bitch. So we shall see. Any predictions on that before we get out of here?
No predictions, but could we just please win 2 in a row against San Antonio? Please, it would just make me feel so
fucking
good.
Men, dude.
Because those just like make the season so gloopy and weird. I hate it. Gloopy's not even a word, obviously, but I just hate playing the Spurs
Gloopy.
2 games in a row. Yeah, it just makes it. Ugh, I don't like it. Like yucky, man.
I will say this for the second Spurs game. One of my good buddies, who is a Spurs fan, is going to come on the podcast and talk about that game. So hopefully we win 2 in a row, or we will not hear the end of it. We're just going to name him like that, that Spurs fan or some shit. So hopefully we don't give him any ammunition. But on that note, Jamsters, I got home. We appreciate you these last 2 nights hanging out with us. You're real MVPs for hanging out with us. I know we pissed off some of you. I saw Maya in the chat just pissed off because we didn't say that Kevin Durant is a golden god and Devin Booker is a piece of shit. I'm sorry for that. But these are my observations, and I want to say them. Thank you for listening to them. I truly do appreciate it. So subscribe, rate, review, hit the thumbs up button. Matthew, tell them what to do.
Go home, love your family.
Go home and hang out in your parking lot and talk like a valley girl and watch your neighbors look at you like you're funny.